The puppet show of power, how the Rothschilds, Rockefellers, and intelligence networks enslave the world. For years, the notion that presidents, prime ministers, and political leaders are independent decision-makers has been sold to the masses as democratic truth. But behind the polished podiums and patriotic speeches lies a far more sinister reality, one that is finally beginning to dawn on a growing segment of humanity. The truth is this: most world leaders are not in control. They are puppets, carefully selected and controlled by a hidden structure of financial and intelligence elites, a global cabal operating above the law and beyond the reach of any constitution. At the very top of this pyramid of power sit the names that rarely grace mainstream headlines: the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers. These dynasties are not just wealthy families. They are the architects of the global financial system, the creators of central banking, and the silent sponsors of both war and peace. Everyone else, whether billionaire tech moguls, military generals, or presidents of supposed free nations, are merely actors in a theater designed to maintain the illusion of choice. The banking dynasties, silent masters of the modern age. The Rothschild family, originating from Frankfurt in the 18th century, rose to unprecedented power through the creation of a banking empire that financed kings, wars, and revolutions. Nathan Rothschild famously said, "I care not who makes a nation's laws, as long as I control its money." This wasn't a boast, it was a declaration of ownership. By funding both sides of the Napoleonic Wars, and later playing key roles in the financing of major European empires, the Rothschilds created a structure where sovereign debt meant permanent control. The Rockefellers, meanwhile, cemented their dominance in the United States through oil monopolies, particularly via Standard Oil, which became the backbone of American industrial capitalism. But they didn't stop there. Through the Rockefeller Foundation, they entered education, medicine, and global governance, crafting ideologies and systems that aligned with their interests. The World Bank, the United Nations, the World Health Organization, all bear the fingerprints of Rockefeller influence. These families didn't just accumulate wealth, they designed systems. The Federal Reserve in the US, the Bank of England, and even the European Central Bank were crafted not to serve citizens, but to serve financiers. Through central banking and control of interest rates, they hold entire nations hostage. Presidents and puppets, a theater of controlled power. From Woodrow Wilson, who regretted signing the Federal Reserve Act, to John F. Kennedy, who dared to challenge the CIA and the monetary system through Executive Order 11110. History is littered with leaders who realized, too late, that they were not truly in charge. Kennedy paid with his life. His assassination in 1963 remains a milestone in the history of deep state intervention. Ronald Reagan, once an outsider, was shot within months of taking office, a reminder from the deep power structures. Barack Obama, hailed as a bringer of hope, filled his cabinet with Goldman Sachs alumni. Donald Trump, who promised to drain the swamp, ended up surrounding himself with neoconservatives, Zionist agents, and Goldman insiders. His ambiguous ties to Jeffrey Epstein and silence on releasing the full Epstein client list are glaring red flags. The Epstein-Mossad connection, a modern blackmail operation. The Epstein saga is not an isolated scandal. It is a window into the machinery of elite control. Jeffrey Epstein was not just a perverse billionaire. He was part of a sophisticated honey trap and blackmail operation, likely run by Mossad, with silent approval from other intelligence agencies. His lavish homes, filled with hidden cameras, were not just playgrounds for the rich and powerful. They were data farms for blackmail material. Ghislaine Maxwell, daughter of Robert Maxwell, a known Israeli asset, was not simply his accomplice. Her family was embedded in Israeli intelligence. Robert Maxwell died mysteriously at sea after being accused of embezzling pension funds and being exposed as a Mossad asset. These are not coincidences, they are patterns. The real question is, where's the list? We are told names exist, that they were logged, filmed, archived, yet nothing surfaces. That's because the list itself is power, and that power is being used to control those on it. If the Cabal wanted a list made public, they would leak it. If they wanted to bury it forever, they already have. Silence is the currency of control. Above the law, when money rules, justice sleeps. The elites behind these systems operate in a realm where international law doesn't apply. They fund NGOs and media outlets to create narratives. They use think tanks to craft foreign policy. They own pharmaceutical companies, arms manufacturers, social media platforms, and the very algorithms that shape human perception. Whenever truth begins to emerge, be it from whistleblowers, journalists, or dissenting politicians, it is either discredited, imprisoned, or suicided. Julian Assange, Edward Snowden, and countless journalists who died under mysterious circumstances are proof that telling the truth is no longer brave. It's suicidal. A global plantation. The end result is a planetary plantation, one where the vast majority of people are debt slaves, surveillance targets, and consumers of controlled narratives. The illusion of freedom is maintained through elections, entertainment, and media theatrics. But behind the scenes, the same hidden hands move the pieces. In this plantation, governments are middle managers, presidents are customer service reps, and the real owners remain unseen, safe in their castles, trusts, and foundations, shielded by private armies and diplomatic immunity. Conclusion: the awakening must continue. More people are waking up, but awareness is only the first step. The system was not built overnight. It will not be dismantled easily. But truth has a way of spreading. And as the illusions crumble, as the puppets are unmasked, and as more citizens realize the rules were never made for them, the real resistance begins, not with violence, but with clarity, courage, and collective disobedience to a system that no longer serves humanity. Until the top of the pyramid is exposed, and the invisible architects made visible, the world remains in chains. The Epstein case is just one door to a much darker labyrinth. But step by step, the light is creeping in.